Hey everyone, thanks for joining tonight. It's good
Hey
to see
everyone.
you. It's good to see you on, Josh. I'm excited that you made it back with us. Also excited that you had a good time at the birthday stuff last week. But we're
We're glad
excited
that you're here.
to have you back. So that's exciting. So we are kicking off our live Write With Me or Us tonight, and we are going to be talking a little bit about how to develop good writing routines. And as you know, we're getting ready to go into Preptober and then NaNoWriMo, and we're going to do some fun stuff in both October and November in terms of writing videos coming out on Fridays, and then
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
yeah, and then the live
It's exciting
sessions like tonight. We're going to be doing some fun stuff. So exciting! We're just building up to that and talking about developing good writing habits.
because good writing habits is really a key to approaching NaNoWriMo. It's really an important part of prepping and dealing with what you're going to do, and yeah,
it is. But I think actually the condensed emphasis during NaNoWriMo probably going to make it easier.
maybe.
Sometimes for me, what the challenge is just the in and out of everyday life. And, before I know it, it's been a month or 2 months has gone by, and I'm wondering, where am I at with my project?
Too many distractions.
Easily get distractions. So as we get kicked off tonight, we just want to welcome you. And if you're watching by video later, feel free to jump forward. We are going to do a couple minutes here.
We don't want them to jump forward.
Well, they can. They can.
Well, they can. Yes.
But we're going to do a few minutes right now just chatting about the topic, and then do a writing sprint for 20 minutes, and then come back, have some interaction, see how you're doing with the writing, and then do another 20-minute writing sprint, and then come back, chat for a minute, and wrap it up. That's our format. And we just want to encourage you to write, move forward on your projects. So, Ange, what are some tips for developing good writing habits?
Well, the first thing is a writing space.
Now, I think the first thing is a nice cup of coffee.
Well, yeah, the cup of coffee is great, but a writing space is a really good thing to look at. Where are you writing? And what does your writing space look like?
Do you think it helps to have a consistent writing space somewhere where you go every time, or at least a lot of the time?
It depends on the person. Because as we've talked about in different things on the channel, some people, they like to take their computer to a coffee shop and sit, put your headphones in and write with the activity around you. So it really does depend on the person, but you really should have in your home or wherever a designated place that you can write. And there's things you can do to make it comfortable and inducing the writing. You can get inspiring quotes to hang where you see them, like future best-selling author is one of my favorites. To have that on a plaque hanging on the wall,
or nice bookshelves,
or a nice bookshelf with the books. Whatever inspires you to sit down and chase your writing dream.
You're gonna smack me if you're not careful.
Well, that's always a possibility. That you want to do that with your writing space.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So for me, what that means is either my headphones with some music that I can play, or like good lighting. I need good lighting. I like to look outside sometimes. That's important. Too many people is like too many distractions. So
because you would want to talk to them.
I would want to talk to everyone, and then I would be distracted.
And I usually like to have nobody talking to me. Put some headphones on, silence, leave me alone. I'm in the zone. But I have gone to the coffee shop and wrote. I have gone to a coffee shop and
she wrote
there, and I worked on my project, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So
just
depends.
Josh, you're always in the same place. You try to be pretty consistent. That helps me. Sometimes I change places in the house, but I still have to have it quiet And believe it or not, one of the things that inspires me, this is going to sound really funny to some of you, but I love coffee. So I'm going to have a cup of coffee. And if I can have a bowl of buttery popcorn, then I'm really in my writing mood. I'm good to go.
You can have the popcorn. I'll take the ice cream.
Yeah. So you have multiple monitors set up.
So you can minimize distractions.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I like that.
We have a laptop, so I don't get to have multiple monitors when I'm writing, but a multiple monitors is really nice.
Yeah, especially when you get into, editing and things like that. That's definitely true.
Vagrant says,
oh, you live in a mountainous area.
Yeah, there's a tall hill nearby.
Love it.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
go park up there and sit up there and have like a out in nature.
You bet. So what's another tip, Ange?
Another tip would be to give yourself a goal.
This is really important for me because I'm goal oriented. So if I have a goal, I'm going to try to achieve that goal. And if her goal is bigger than my goal, then I'm really motivated because I'm competitive as well. So yeah.
But I mean, it can be, your goal can be a word count, or it could be amount of time. It could be like, I'm going to write for 30 minutes every day, which honestly, that's been my ongoing goal, is to write and work on one of my writing projects for a minimum of 30 minutes a day.
Yeah.
That's kind of my ongoing goal.
See, I can't do the time thing because I just know myself, and I would waste 30 minutes just so I could be done with it. I need to have a word count that really motivates me, or to have some type of deadline to get something done that motivates me.
You're going to do great in NaNoWriMo.
We'll see. I may not sleep for the month of November, but I'm going to give it a shot.
If I'm doing like the first draft, like I'm going to be doing in November, a word count goal is probably what I'm going to go with. But if you're looking at creating writing habits, then it depends on what you're doing. Because if you're doing editing, it doesn't work to have a word count goal. So it depends on where you're at in your project. But if you're looking at your writing habits, having a goal really is very helpful.
But I think part of that is you have to know yourself and what motivates you, and how to really get yourself engaged so that you want to achieve that goal. So Josh, you live in the woods. That is awesome. I love that. And Vagrant, some great areas. Oh yeah.
I love to be out in nature. It's just so inspiring.
Absolutely. So Ange, we're a little over here. We got to get to a writing sprint. But I'm having too much fun chatting.
Well, it's time to write, y'all. Wait, Vagrant says, if one of your stories goes long, how do you prioritize trimming things? Well, that would be in the editing process. And honestly, you want to look at all of the aspects of editing and trim down, like, I don't know, there's lots of things to look at, but unnecessary words. And usually when you go through your manuscript and look at those unnecessary, those overused words, sorry, I said the wrong word, overused words like very and things like that. There's just some words that we just use way too much. That's another one. But a lot of times, you're talking about the editing process, because it's.
But why do you want to cut down? Is your story that much too long? Because like in a novel, it can be anywhere from 60,000 words and up. So you could do 120,000 words and it would still fit in that novel category. The thing I think of when I get to that place is, does it need to be tighter? Does it need to be more focused?
Yeah.
Is there too much fluff in it? But if the story is just a long story, then I would tell you just make it long. And so, if you're at 80 or 100 or 120,000 words, that's not horrible in my book. But here's the other thing I would say. If you're pushing 100 to 120, I would be thinking about, can I make this a series?
Yeah.
Because that's what I did with the current book I'm working on, the sci-fi book. It was too much for one book, so I decided to break it and make it into a series. And now I'm working on book 2. So you might consider breaking that and making it into a series. 2, 3 books is a good series. Some go, just more and more and more, and those are really popular. And that's actually a really good strategy, because if people get your first book and they really like it, then they're going to get the second and the third. So in terms of marketing and being profitable as an author, having a series is a really good idea. So that's probably what I would consider there.
The other thing that when you're looking, if your story's too long and you're feeling like it's too long and you don't want to split it, is look at every scene and ask yourself, does this further your story? Does the story move with this scene? If you have stagnant scenes that are just taking up space, then you may consider removing the stagnant scenes, the scenes that are just...
Yeah, if it slows the pace down or doesn't really add value, then you could cut those a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, we better get to a sprint. Are we ready?
It's time to write.
You guys ready? We're going to see if we can get some words down on our projects, and love to hear what you guys are writing on. If you're writing fiction, nonfiction, what genre, kind of where you're at in the process there. That would be awesome. All right, start. I'm talking. Ready, set, go.
There we go.
8 minutes. Got a few more minutes to go in our writing sprint. We went a little bit long talking, so I better stop talking.
Yes.
All right. Time is up. First 20 minutes. Joshua says he got 123 words.
Good job.
Awesome. That's great.
Anybody else want to share their word count or their goal or whatever you were working on? We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What about you?
Absolutely.
How'd you do?
What about me?
How did your writing sprint go?
Well, I mean, do I have to say?
Okay, so I was editing because I seem to be stuck in perpetual editing.
Yep.
I've got actually 2 books that I'm editing right now, and I just am in this vortex of editing. But I'm in the home stretch because I can see it winding down. I can see I'm getting close to the end.
That's good.
And yeah, I don't really have a word count to report, but I did make great progress towards the end of the book so that I can finally be done with editing.
Yeah, Bagran, you had to go back and do some backtracking and fixing some things, smoothing it out. That's what I've been working on the last couple of live Write With Me's, is trying to fix a couple little things. And that can be difficult because you don't have really a word count that you're, achieving something. It's kind of like editing, like you're working really hard, but it's not like you're achieving the goal sometimes. So I'm feeling that. Yeah, I did a little bit on my outline, trying to fix a couple of things on how I do my story structure and outline and things like that. So I didn't necessarily get a lot of words down, but I'm working on some behind the scenes issues, getting ready for this writing project we have.
You're getting a jump on it. That's not
a little bit.
Oh, so
oh, now I'm in trouble.
This is where we talked about it in the last time we were talking about goals, and it really depends on where you're at in the writing process, because there's really many stages in the writing process.
There are. So tonight we're not talking about writing. We're talking about developing good writing habits.
Well, that's part of your writing habits. And the next thing,
so, keep going.
The next thing is to create a writing routine.
Now, this is a little bit different, probably for everybody, but we are definitely different in our writing routines. And so I think you really have to figure out what works for you and how to get yourself in a routine that is really productive. Yes. So what is your routine, Ange?
So when I am doing like a first draft and I'm really just in that creative mode, what I do is actually, I know this may sound silly, but I have a just to kind of trigger myself and get me in the writing mood. I actually will watch a worship video and just do one song and center myself and focus myself, and that actually triggers me to get into writing mode, and then I go in the right, and I do that every time.
But you do that with signing too.
Yes,
right?
I do signing. So I work on a signing song, and so I think that actually might help because I'm crossing the midline and I'm activating my brain.
Yeah, you're activating both sides of your brain. You're getting in that creative mode when you do that.
Yeah. So that's what I do, and I don't know. You can tell them what you do, but really, your writing routine is really important because it activates your brain. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is what I'm going to do now. If I do this, I'm going to do this.
So for me, I don't know about that, but the one thing that really is important for me, probably one of the most important things for me, is once I get on a project, I have to do something on it every day. So my routine is that I have to stay engaged with the project, because if I skip a day or 2 days, then I've got so many other irons in the fire that I just kind of lose track of where it's at.
Yeah.
And after 3 or 4 days, I have to go back and read a whole section and go through this big lengthy process to get back in the zone of who the character is and how they talk. And it's a big process. So for me, it's really important to write at least a little bit every day to stay engaged with the project. And the other thing I find is that by doing that, I get more creative ideas behind the scenes because my mind is active on that particular topic.
The other thing that a lot of people do is they will go back and they will read what they wrote the day before.
Yeah. Well,
like
I do
sit
that.
down, I'm going to read, I'm going to write. So I'm going to read what I wrote the day before to just get my mind activated and in the story again.
I go back and edit what I did the day before.
Yes, some people do that.
Yeah, that's my habit. So what do you guys do? How do you really get in that writing routine? Maybe to stay in the writing routine, or to really engage yourself in that creative process where you can, work on a new story, come up with new ideas. I think you've got to have some type of routine like that to break out of the writer's block, because sometimes, man, we can write and it flows and it's inspired and it's creative. And then other times,
and then there's writer's block.
it's
Sometimes
a dry well.
Oh,
And that's
hate
hard.
that.
So what do you guys do to get through that? Do you have a specific routine or habit that you do? One of the other things I do to kind of break out of that is I go for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to walk. I love to walk in the woods, go for a hike, do something outdoorsy. That's kind of me. And so that really does inspire me to get more creative.
Joshua says he just jumps in when I have time.
You're amazing, Joshua.
That's kind of my thing too.
That's
I'm
like her.
I'm kind of like that.
Yeah, it's hard for me to jump right in. I have to kind of get in the mode. Yeah, for sure.
And then we have one more tip.
One more tip, and then we got to get to our next writing sprint.
To help you develop a writing habit is to consider journaling.
Okay.
Consider just every day, have a journal and just jot down what your day was like every day. And it'll help you think of words. It'll help you express yourself. It'll help creating that writing habit.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is, for me, when I do journaling, I like to do it with a pen and paper.
Yeah.
And when I'm writing, I definitely use the keyboard. But the pen and paper is something different. It triggers maybe
it's a different part of your brain.
Different part of the brain. It gets me going in a different way. So writing out with pen and paper really is kind of helpful to me to trigger that creative process.
And there are some writers, actually famous writers, who do their rough draft with pen and paper.
I could never do that.
There are some famous writers that do that.
It's not
and
that
then
I
they
couldn't
take it
do
and
that.
put it on the computer.
No one could ever read it.
Well, there's that. Vagrant says, when I had writer's block, I just chipped away at this section and brainstormed. It took a couple days, but I got through and back into the flow. Yeah.
Nice. So Vagrant, what are you writing on it? Are you writing a dystopian, or what genre are you writing in?
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, love to know. But it sounds like you have quite a bit written. If you're worried about it being too long, you probably have quite a bit written already.
Yeah.
All right. So we better get to our next writing sprint, because we talked too much last time. Well, I didn't. This time it was you that talked too much.
I didn't talk too much. Y'all didn't think I talked too much, did you?
I can see them nodding their heads.
They're not.
All right.
You guys ready? Yep. I'm going to start the time.
Post-apocalyptic.
Ooh, that's some of my favorite.
Nice.
The book, the series that we're getting ready to publish in December is a dystopian fiction series.
Nice.
One of my favorite genres.
You got 71,000 words so far. That's awesome. You're not too long at that point, unless you're only midway through the book. No, that's exciting. All right, let's go, Ange. Let's do our writing sprint. We got 20 minutes of writing sprint. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit more afterwards, but now I'm going to get in trouble if I don't write. So stick with us. 20-minute writing sprint. Skunks McGee, you can only write when you're angry.
Oh.
Oh, you got to write something more calm. What genre are you writing
I
in?
love that. Yeah, what genre are you writing? I would love to hear. That's great.
Love it. Love it. Get angry to write comedy.
Yeah.
Comedy must be good because you got me laughing now.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Only writing comedy while angry is kind of hilarious. I think so too.
All right, there we go. Another
Okay.
20 minutes in the books. How did you guys do? Did you get a bunch of words on paper?
Joshua, you're hilarious. He said it sounds like I'm at a slumber party.
Yep, yep. Well, that's what happens with live events. It just goes all over the place. So
109.
109. Great.
Good job.
So you've made some great progress in the last hour. You've got several hundred words down on paper. So that's very productive. So, man, you're cruising right along on your story there. I'm excited about that.
It's really cool.
And
And Skunks McGee, you're hilarious. Thank you for sharing. You cracked me up.
Oh, yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Vagrant said did some more backtracking to smooth things out, then back to the current spot. Yeah. What's your
Nice.
word count goal? Would be a good question if you want to put that in the comments.
Yeah, are you trying to reach 80,000 for your book? Where are you trying to target with that?
Or you're trying to hit 100,000. I mean,
so what about you, Ange? How did you do? You get some more editing done?
I did. I actually did some editing. I did several pages because editing is just so time consuming. It just goes slow.
It is. I'll be excited when she's done with the editing. That way I don't have to hear her complain about the editing.
Skunks McGee said he did 166 pages of anger. Vagrant says, I'm hoping 80,000. I heard 90 is too long for the average novel. Yeah. Depends on who you ask. But once it hits between 60 and 100,000 basically is a novel. But if you get too much bigger than 80, then you might have problems. If you're self-publishing, you might have problems with getting it published because it's too big.
Yeah, it could be because your book will be so thick that you're going to have to make adjustments for that. And your print cost may go up as compared to your ability to sell and make a profit. So your profit might shrink a little bit if your book is too big. That is a consideration.
You're really better off to, if it's going to be much longer, to split it up into 2 books instead of 1.
Yeah.
But that's if you got enough material for 2 books.
Yeah, that's a good point. But that's what I did with my current project. And right now, book 1 is at 63,000 words, something like that. And I wanted it to be just a little bit longer, but when I divided it up, it turned out being a little bit shorter than I anticipated. But we'll see when I go through the final edit stage, because in your final edit stage, like I did what I thought was the final edit stage. I realized I was missing some key things, so I had to add a chapter. But I may end up taking some out or adding a little bit more at that final stage.
I think that the rule of thumb is if you hit 60, somewhere between 60 and 80, then it's enough for it to be considered a full novel. But you really don't want to just add words just to make it bigger. If the story's complete at 61,000, the story's complete. Don't add unnecessary things and clutter up your story. But if there's more to the story, then write it. It's
better to focus on the quality aspect than
the
number of words, because you don't want to fluff, because then you're going to lose your reader. Yeah, for sure.
Skunks McGee says, I was thinking about writing a book of titles, band names, and movie names and stuff. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's some crazy ones out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some very funny band names. All right. So what else you guys have questions about, comments, insights? Maybe you have some insights that you want to share. Feel free to drop us comments there. But we are quickly running out of time for tonight's Live Right With Me. So excited. So we have another video coming out Friday. And this, I just have to tell on Angie a little bit, because we got it all set up and she recorded the video, and somewhere in the process she turned off the mic, so there was no sound. So she had to redo the whole thing. And
long story short, I had to refilm the video 3 times.
And this Friday it's coming out. So not only are we writing, but we're doing videos, and it's a creative venture that we're on.
And we are prepping for Preptober, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. That is coming up.
Nice. Three Stooges novel is going well. That's awesome.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Cool.
I love the Three Stooges. They're fun.
Good stuff.
Thus, you said comedy.
Yep. Slapstick. I like it. All right. Well, I think we will wrap up for tonight. But be sure to tune in Friday for the video, and then next Monday. And we're going to have some adventures again next Monday. So thanks for joining. Appreciate you guys joining. And
thanks for joining us, everyone.
keep writing.